Have you ever been stuck trying to figure out how to validate form inputs, only to feel overwhelmed by the options? If that's you, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into how to require at least one of two fields using Vee-Validate in Vue.js 2.0. I totally understand how frustrating it can be when you want to ensure that at least one phone number is provided, but the validation rules seem to complicate things. You're not alone in this struggle. Many developers face similar challenges. Here's the specific situation we're addressing. A user recently asked, is it possible to set up a rule that checks both the home phone and cell phone fields for input, requiring at least one of them? If this sounds like your question, let's work through it together. So, what's the challenge here? The default behavior of validation libraries is to check each field independently. However, we need a custom solution that ensures at least one of the fields is filled out. Let's break down how to achieve this. And stick around. I have a quick tip at the end that will make your form validation even smoother. You won't want to miss it. To implement a rule that requires at least one of the two fields, the user should start by defining a custom validation rule in Vee-Validate. This rule will check if either the home phone or the cell phone field has a value. Next, the user needs to apply this custom rule to the form fields in their Vue component. This involves using the Vee-Validate directive on both the home phone and cell phone inputs. After applying the rule, the user should ensure that the form displays validation messages. This can be done by utilizing the error message component from Vee-Validate to show errors for each input. Finally, the user can test the form to verify that the validation works as expected. They should check that submitting the form without filling in either field prompts the appropriate error message. Fun fact, did you know that the first mobile phone call was made in 1973? It was a huge leap in technology, and now we can't imagine life without our smartphones. Now, let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative approach suggested by a user is to handle the validation directly in the HTML. They propose using the Vee-Validate directive to set the required rule conditionally based on the other input's value. For the home phone field, the required rule checks if the cell phone field has a value. If it does, home phone is not required, and vice versa. Let's take a look at an answer from another user. An alternative solution, provided by another user, involves using the validation provider from Vee-Validate. They suggest setting the required rule for the home phone field to check if the cell phone field is empty. If the cell phone is null or an empty string, then the home phone becomes required. Similarly, for the cell phone field, the required rule checks if the home phone field is empty. If the home phone is null or an empty string, then the cell phone becomes required. Here's that quick tip I promised. Always test your validation rules thoroughly. It can save you from unexpected errors down the line. And there you have it. You should now be able to require at least one phone number using Vee-Validate in Vue.js 2.0. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe for more tips and remember to keep experimenting with your forms.